Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. My name is Jennifer, and I'm a teacher with English in the City Prazo. And this afternoon, we are live once again. We're live on our YouTube channel, and we're live on our Facebook page. For those of you who have participated in previous focuses, you know that during these focus activities, we enjoy to travel. We enjoy to have different virtual experiences and talk about them in these focus activities. We also know that when we travel, we need to think of accommodations. We need to think about where we are going to stay when we're on holiday or when we are on vacation. And that's our topic for this afternoon. This afternoon, our focus activity 2-3, we are in a hotel. How do you talk about what you need in a hotel? How do you speak at the reception? And what are names and vocabulary that we use when we are in a hotel? We're going to talk about all of that and more in this afternoon's focus activity 2-3 in a hotel. For those of you just tuning in, my name is Jennifer and welcome. Hope everyone has had a good week so far. We've arrived again at Friday. The weeks pass by so quickly. But as you join our focus activity, please say hello, type in your name and say hello. It would be so great to hear from you. So we're live again this afternoon, focus activity 2-3. We're live on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Hi, Andrea, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. We're traveling again in this afternoon's focus. We are staying in a hotel. Some people prefer camping. I, on the other hand, prefer the accommodations of staying in a hotel and not having to worry about certain things while I'm on vacation. Everybody has different opinions. I have many friends who love camping and they say it's a great way to spend a holiday. It's not working on YouTube again today. That's strange, Andrea. I will tell you this though. There have been some problems with the connection today. I don't know, maybe because it's Friday, or maybe because there are just a lot of people working online today and this afternoon. But we've had a few problems with the connection already today. If you can't, if you're having problems on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, just jump on over to the Facebook page because we're live there also. For those of you just tuning in, please type your name in the comment box over on the right and say hello. Let me know that you're there. So this afternoon, we're going on another trip. And usually when we travel, we stay in a hotel. We know that there are different places where we can find accommodation. We can stay in a bed and breakfast. We could stay at a resort. We can even rent a house or an apartment. Depending on your preference or your tastes, you can find different places to stay while you're on holiday. Okay, now it's working on YouTube as well. Oh, good. Thank goodness. Because I hate to say that we're live when we are not. Okay. So let's get started on our focus activity. We are staying in a hotel. I enjoy staying in hotels. I enjoy not very luxurious hotels, but I do enjoy comfortable hotels because I like to relax while I'm on holiday. Some people go on holiday for different reasons, but I admit that I go on holiday to relax. Some people go on holiday for adventure. Some people go on holiday to learn new things, to have new interesting experiences. I, for one, enjoy relaxing on holiday after a long period of work. So in today's focus activity, we will be talking about hotel rooms, how to ask for what we want, and greetings at a reception desk. We know that when we enter a hotel, usually there's a series of greetings. How does the receptionist greet us at a hotel? And what do we say to them? What are phrases we use when we enter a hotel? And usually they ask us for documents when we decide to stay at a hotel. How do they ask us? What do they ask for? And how do we answer? These are certain questions we're going to consider today in our focus activity. I can't really remember the last time I stayed in a hotel. I haven't traveled very much recently. Guest or receptionist. Here we're taking a look through several phrases, and we want to decide who is saying it. Is the guest saying it or the receptionist? Before we read through the phrases, let's understand who is the guest and who is the receptionist. The receptionist is the person who works in the hotel, and the guest is the person that is taking a hotel room to stay for a night or for several days while they're on holiday. Let's read through the phrases and decide who is saying what. Notice on your screen you have 6 phrases. I'm Ms. Evans. I have a reservation. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. Nice to meet you, Ms. Evans. Here are your room keys. What's your name? Who is saying which phrase? Let's take a look at number 1. I'm Ms. Evans. In your opinion, is the guest saying it or the receptionist? As you come up with your answers, you can simply type them in the comment box so that I can read what you're thinking and we can consider your answers we can consider the answers together. So number 1, the first phrase is, I'm Ms. Evans. Who is saying it? The receptionist, the person who works in the hotel, or the guest, the person who's staying in the hotel? Because when you arrive in a hotel, usually what do you say? Very often, as we come into the hotel, they ask us for our name. So the receptionist may ask us, what's your name? After they say hello. So that would mean that number 1, the first phrase, I'm Ms. Evans, the guest is speaking. The guest is speaking, and the guest says, I'm Ms. Evans. Let's look at number 2. I have a reservation. What is a reservation? And why do you need one? Thank you very much, Andrea. I see now you're on YouTube. That's right. Ms. Evans is the guest. So we see that the first phrase, I'm Ms. Evans, is said by the guest. I have a reservation. A reservation is something we all need to make when we decide to stay in a hotel. Why do we need a reservation? This way we can be sure that a room will be prepared for us. So if Ms. Evans is the guest, then she is the one who has a reservation. Ms. Evans has the reservation. So number 2 is also the guest. I have a reservation is said by Ms. Evans, who is the guest. Let's take a look at number 3. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. Considering number 1 and 2, if the guest is Ms. Evans and Ms. Evans has a reservation, then who is saying hello? Welcome to the Royal Hotel. Most likely, someone who works there is saying hello and welcoming the guest to the Royal Hotel. That means that number 3 is the receptionist. The receptionist is speaking, and the receptionist says to Ms. Evans, hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. The fourth phrase, phrase number 4, nice to meet you, Miss Evans. Obviously, Ms. Evans is not saying hello to herself. So number 4 is also, thank you very much, Andrea. Number 4 is the receptionist. The receptionist says, hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. And the receptionist also says, nice to meet you, Ms. Evans. Let's consider number 5. Here are your room keys. When you stay in a hotel, they give you keys to open the door to your room. When you arrive at the hotel, if they give you the keys, they give the guest the keys, then who is saying, here are your room keys? It's not the guest. So number 5 is also the receptionist. Here are your room keys, she says to the guest, Ms. Evans. What's your name? If we take a look at number 1, where she says, I'm Ms. Evans, that's certainly the answer to number 6. What's your name? So that gives us a clue that number 6 is also the receptionist. The receptionist asks the guest, what is your name? Let's go over the answers together. We said that number 1, Andrea told us that number 1, I'm Ms. Evans, is the guest. I have a reservation is also the guest. Welcome to the Royal Hotel is the receptionist. Nice to meet you, Ms. Evans, is also the receptionist. Here are your room keys is the receptionist. And what's your name is the receptionist. So of these 6 phrases, the guest only says, I'm Miss Evans and I have a reservation. All the other phrases are said by the receptionist. Here we want to put the conversation in order. So we have the same 6 phrases and we want to put them in the correct order. What are the 6 phrases? I'm Ms. Evans. I have a reservation. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. Nice to meet you, Miss Evans. Here are your room keys. What's your name? On your screen, notice the image to the right of the phrases. There are two people in this image. One of them is the guest. Which one is the guest? The woman here. She's the guest. She's arrived at the hotel and she's ready for her room. If this is the guest, then this other person is the receptionist. The receptionist is the person who says hello when you arrive at the hotel. The receptionist is usually the first person you see when you arrive at the hotel. So that being the case, you walk in the door of this luxury hotel, you're ready for your holiday, and the receptionist says, what's the first thing she says when you walk in? What's the first thing anyone says when they see you? Usually the first thing is a greeting. So they say hello. And seeing that these two are not friends, one is an employee of the hotel, the other one is a guest, the receptionist says, hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. Now we saw also that of these 6 phrases, the receptionist says 4. So after she welcomes the guest, what does she say? Because they obviously cannot help you in a hotel until they know who you are. In order to know who you are, they can ask you for identification. But usually before they ask you for identification, they'll say, what's your name? Which is one of the first questions we learn when we are learning a new language. We learn how to introduce ourselves and we learn how to ask other people for information about them. So just as in real life, when we say, hi, my name's Jennifer, what's your name? The receptionist says, hi, welcome to the Royal Hotel. I'm Ms. Dunstan. That's my name, Andrea. So the receptionist says, hi, welcome to the Royal Hotel. What's your name? I'm Ms. Evans. After she introduces herself, after Ms. Evans introduces herself, then she'll also say, I have a reservation. What is a reservation? A reservation is when you call in advance or you go through on the internet in advance and you ask for a room. So they make sure that when you arrive at the hotel, there is a room ready for you. They clean the room, they put an extra bed in the room, they make sure there are towels in the bathroom. Possibly they stock up on the snacks in the fridge. Usually hotel rooms have snacks in the fridge that cost a lot of money. So it's always advisable not to eat snacks from the fridge. So the first sentence was number 3. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. The second sentence was, what's your name? The third sentence was number 1. I'm Ms. Evans. And then number 2. I have a reservation. Oh no, I'm Ms. Evans. Nice to meet you, Miss Evans. Then Ms. Evans says, I have a reservation. meaning she asked for a room in advance. Once the receptionist knows who the guest is, then she says to her, "Here are your room keys." Let's go through the conversation once more just to check the order. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. What's your name? I'm Ms. Evans. I have a reservation. It was right the first time. Nice to meet you, Ms. Evans. Here are your room keys. And this is the order of the conversation. First, she says hello. She asks for the name of the guest. The guest introduces herself. And then the receptionist gives her the keys to her room. We know also that now they don't always have room keys. They may have those cards that you put in the door. So they don't always have the keys in all the hotels anymore. They have the cards or a code. Sometimes there's a code that you put in the door. Am I sure about what, Andrea? Am I sure? Am I sure about what? Mixed up conversation. And here we have the dialogue on the screen. We can't really practice it because I'm the only one talking, but this is the correct order of the conversation on the screen. Does anyone know what documents they may ask? What documents they may ask for when you stay in a hotel? Because otherwise you can walk into a hotel and give any name you want. So if you're traveling outside of your country, for example, you're confused by the order. Why do you say that, Andrea? Because in your opinion, what should the order be? Honestly, my order would have been, hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. What's your name? I'm Miss Evans. Nice to meet you, Miss Evans. I have a reservation. Here are your room keys. That's what I would have said. But we see also, Andrea, that there are probably a few variations of the conversation. It doesn't have to be in this order. But what's important is that we notice the language being used. In the beginning, there's a greeting. Can I have your passport, please? Excellent, Andrea. Thank you so much. This is one of the questions that they may ask you when you arrive at the hotel, and they need to verify your identification. So if you're traveling abroad, if you're traveling outside of your country, they ask you for your passport. If, on the other hand, you're traveling in your own country, what documents do they ask for? Do they ask for your card from the supermarket? Do they ask for your library card? So, for example, I book a room at a hotel in Rome because I'm going away on a city break. What documents do they ask me for? And Andrea is giving us another order for the conversation. Hello, I have a reservation. What's your name? Miss Evans. Nice to meet you. Very good. Here are your keys. That's also another variation because often we walk into the hotel and we say, hi, I have a reservation. Oh, sure. What's your name? Very true, Andrea. Very true. They don't always ask you your name first. You'll probably tell them, "Hi, I'm here because I booked a room." And then they say, "Oh, well, what's your name?" And then they do the other questions as far as asking for identification. But it's also good to note that between the lesson, Andrea and myself, we came up with 3 variations of the same conversation. So you realize that there are different ways of saying things, and it still makes sense. Very good. They'll ask us for our identity card if we're traveling in Italy. So they'll ask us for the identification card that has our photograph and our other personal information. In fact, if we're traveling in the US, our identification card is our driver's license. That's what we give for ID. Here, on the other hand, you have your driver's license and you also have your ID card. In the United States, however, no. You have your driver's license, which is valid as your identification. Okay, on your screen now, you have 6 images. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. On the left side of your screen, you have words and phrases. Double room, balcony, single room, bathroom, good view, and breakfast. These are all different things that we may ask for or request in a hotel. So let's look through the images and match each word or phrase to an image. Let's take a look at image number 1. What is it? Is it a double room, a balcony, a single room, a bathroom, good view, or a breakfast? What's number 1? In fact, often if I'm traveling alone, if I have this in my room, that's good enough. But if I'm traveling with a partner, or if I'm traveling with my family, then obviously this would not be enough. So in your opinion, looking at the first image on the screen, is it a double room, a balcony, a single room, a bathroom, a good view, or breakfast? This is image number 1. I have stayed in hotels by myself before, though. When I used to travel, when I traveled alone, I used to stay in hotels by myself. We see that number 1 is a single room. What is a single room? A single room is a room just for one person. So if you're traveling alone, you'll get a single room because you only need one bed to sleep in. And as we know, the single rooms are usually a lot smaller than the double rooms. If you go on holiday or on vacation at the seaside, this might be a nice thing to have, whether in your hotel or if you decide to rent an apartment or a house. This is a nice thing to have while you're on vacation in the summertime by the sea. A balcony. And if we're lucky, the balconies are big enough that you can eat on the balcony and relax on the balcony. If number 1 is a single room, then what is number 3? Number 1, Andrea says, is a single room that doesn't exist abroad. Honestly, you can't get a single room outside of Italy. I had no idea. Because I didn't travel alone in the States. I traveled alone once I came to Europe, but I didn't travel alone in the States. I see that a few more people have joined our focus activity. As you join our focus activity, please say hello. Let me know that you're there. It would be great to hear from you. Right now, we're talking about different things that we find in our hotel room. So we're identifying this vocabulary. We've already gone through the first two images. The first image is a single room, which Andrea has informed us it does not exist outside of Europe, outside of Italy. So if you're in Italy, you can get a single room. Once you decide to leave Italy, you have to get a double room and sleep in a big bed alone. Number 2, Daniele says, is a balcony in Mandarin Hotel in New York. Really? You can see you got all of that information from one little balcony. I said before that if you're vacationing near the sea, a balcony is a wonderful thing to have to sit outside at night and pass the cooler evenings. But then if you're on holiday in a city, then a balcony isn't that important. What is number 3? We said that if number 1 is a single room, balcony is the second one, then number 3 must be a double room. A double room, there's room for at least 2 people. And this is convenient because if you go on holiday, maybe a couple and their child, then you can request an extra bed in a double room without getting a larger room for more money because it has another bed, another permanent bed in it. Thank you so much, Andrea, for participating. So number 1 is a single room, number 2 is the balcony, and number 3 is a double room. What about number 4? What do we see at number 4? We see a window, and the window is overlooking the city, and it looks like possible mountains in the back. And depending on where we're staying on holiday, this is also an important feature. Because when I go on holiday, I spend very little time in the room. I prefer to spend more time out and about. But if I find that I am in my room for a little bit of time, I enjoy not only a balcony, but I enjoy also the view. I enjoy the view from my room. And because there are many cities that are known for their skylines, it's also important to ask for a room with a good view when we go on holiday. So number 3 is a double room. And number 4 is a good view. We have 2 more phrases left, 2 more words left, and 2 more pictures. The 2 rooms are bathroom and breakfast. Taking a look at the 2 remaining images on our screen, what are they? Number 5, oh, thank you, Andrea. Andrea says that number 4 is a good view of the New York skyline. I wish it were. I wish it were. In fact, when you go on holiday in certain cities, what area do you like to stay in so you know that you have an excellent view? For example, Andrea, if you're staying in New York, where do you want to stay so that you have a good view of the city, in your opinion? Because it's also important the area that you decide to stay in. For example, if you decide to go on vacation or a holiday in New York City, you might want to stay in a hotel that is near Central Park. So you have a view of the city and a view of the park. Thank you so much, Andrea. Number 5 is bathroom, and number 6 is breakfast. Okay, what are different qualities or what are different requests you can make when you decide to book a room in a hotel? So, for example, when you go on holiday, what are different things that you ask for when you're booking the room? What's booking the room? Booking the room is contacting the hotel before your vacation, before your holiday, and telling them what? What information do you give when you book a room in a hotel? They usually ask you for all the information that they need. If you do it on the phone. You'd like to stay in the Village or in Soho. Those are great areas too. Those are very good areas. So depending on the actual street you are, because there's small areas in Manhattan. They're not very big. So there could be certain streets that are nice to stay on, like Bleecker Street is very nice to stay on. Or if you want to stay south of Houston Street, because north of that the area is a little bit different. And it's almost like it has an atmosphere of a village when you get into those neighborhoods in Manhattan. You almost feel like you're leaving the big city because there are trees along the streets. The buildings are not as high. There may be 3-4 story buildings. They're not skyscrapers. Once you get into Midtown, which is past the 20s and 30s, the 20s, which would be, I think, the meatpacking district. Then you get farther up, you hit Times Square, and then you're in Midtown. The buildings get taller and taller and taller in the center of the city. As you move farther north, the buildings start to get shorter again, and you go up into Harlem. And the buildings there are older buildings that are not as small as the ones downtown, but I would say those buildings also don't have as many floors, depending on the neighborhood you're in. And then, of course, there are other neighborhoods where the buildings have many, many, many floors, and hundreds of people live inside. So what kind of room do you request when you go on holiday? I said that when I go on holiday with my family, I request a room for 4 people. Usually 1 double bed and 2 single beds. Because my children are so tall, it's good for me to get big beds. Sometimes they try to give us a rollaway bed or a sofa, a pull-out, but that does not work. I'd like a spacious single room with a king-size bed and possibly a good view of Central Park. Very good. There's some very, very nice hotels near Central Park West especially. So you have a great view of the park and also a great view of the city. When you stay in hotels like that, the higher up you are, the better it is because you get a better view. Unless, of course, you're staying downtown, as Andrea said, in Soho or in the Village, then you could probably find a nice, it wouldn't be a luxurious hotel, but you could probably get rent an apartment for a period of time if you're on holiday. So what requests do you make and what information do you give when you go on holiday? I said that when you arrive at the hotel or when you reserve a room in a hotel, you tell them how many people you are. That's one thing that's very important. What other information do you give when you book a room in a hotel? You give your name. You give the number of people that are staying. Is there any other information you give them when you book a room? What other information is important if you decide to stay in a hotel? Can you just arrive and stay for as long as you want or leave whenever you feel like it and they have no idea? Of course not. So when you book a room in a hotel, you tell them who you are. You tell them how many people are staying and for how many days you're staying. You let them know how long your holiday is so that they can book someone else when you leave. We know also that it is possible as well to arrive unexpectedly at some hotels and ask for a room immediately. It depends on the time of year, when you travel, and it depends on where you are. You can't always walk into any hotel and get a room immediately. But if you decide to, you can go into the reception and ask for a room. They will ask you, what kind of room do you want? You tell them what kind of room you want. For example, I want a double room with a good view. And then they'll say, yes, certainly, we have a room available. Or, I'm sorry, we don't have anything like that available right now. And they can offer you another accommodation. Possibly a big room, but not with a view. Possibly a smaller room, but with an excellent view. Another request you have when you book a room in a hotel, when you book a room in a hotel, you ask for breakfast or lunch or dinner. If the hotel has a dining room, then you can let them know that you would like breakfast in your room or that you'll be having breakfast in the dining room. Asking for a room. We're going to read through this conversation. And we're not going to practice in pairs, but you can listen along and read along while I thank you, Andrea. Andrea gives us a few other requests that we may make when we're booking a room. Are pets allowed? Excellent. I hadn't thought of that. That's something else that someone might ask when they're booking a room in a hotel, because if they travel with their pet, they need to know if it's allowed in the hotel. And we know that not all hotels allow animals. Is there any free internet connection? Fantastic. Actually, when I started traveling, there wasn't internet, so this wasn't a request that I used to make, but it is a very common request now. Being that people travel with their devices, they travel for work or for leisure, it doesn't matter, but most people travel with some type of device that needs access to the internet. So people want to know if the internet is free or if they have to pay to use it. And Andrea also added the request, is there a parking possibility? Absolutely. That's another fantastic thing to consider. If you're traveling and you've traveled by car, when you arrive at the hotel, you want to know if there's a place to put your car. And this might not always be the case if you travel by plane. For example, if you fly to New York and you have transportation from the airport to the hotel, you don't need a car or parking while you stay in New York. However, if you drive from Prato to Milan or to Rome, you might want a place to keep your car because you've traveled not by plane, but by car to your destination. Do you have a spa? This is something else also for those of us who go on vacation to relax. If you stay in a luxurious hotel, they may also have facilities like a spa, which is very, very nice. Or they could have a massage therapist that comes to your room. So you don't even have to leave your room for certain services because they will come directly to you. All right, let's take a few minutes and read over this conversation. Hello, welcome to the Royal Hotel. What's your name? I'm Ms. Evans. I have a reservation. Nice to meet you, Ms. Evans. What kind of room do you want? I want a single room with a balcony. Yes, certainly. Room 407 is available. Here are your room keys. Now, the only thing that's peculiar about this conversation is that Ms. Evans already said that she had a reservation. So in all honesty, the receptionist shouldn't ask her what type of room she wants. She should already know, and her room should be ready for her. On the other hand, if Ms. Evans walks into the hotel unexpectedly without a reservation, then she could say, well, I need a room because I'm staying in the city for the weekend. It is possible to do that as well. I know some people like to travel. They like to improvise. They like to improvise and they like to be spontaneous. So I know many people will just get in their car, arrive at their destination, and then look for accommodations. That's not the way I like to travel. I like to know where I'm going to be staying. I like to know exactly where I am going. I don't like to arrive in a new city and not know where I'm sleeping that night. It's too stressful for me that way. Okay, so thank you, Andrea, for your great suggestions. These are several questions that we may ask when we're booking a room or when we arrive at the hotel. We said also that when we arrive at a hotel, we can also have certain requests. And what is it called when you make a request for different meals in the day? For example, you can book a room in your hotel and simply want breakfast. Or you can book a room in a hotel and ask for 3 meals a day. Do you have a roof lounge to sunbathe? Andrea, I want to know where you are going on holiday. That's what I want to know. Are you the type of person that enjoys staying in the hotel, or do you like to go out and experience the city that you're visiting or the town that you're visiting? I'm really not that concerned with the hotel. I like it. I like clean hotels. That's very important. But as far as the hotel being fantastic, I don't need it to be too fantastic because most of my time is going to be spent outside of the hotel. Do you have a roof lounge? I know roof lounges are nice depending on where you're staying. But that's also the difference between a hotel and a resort. For example, if you decide to stay in a hotel, I'll use my home city, New York, since I know it a little bit better than other cities I've visited. If you stay in a hotel in New York, you're going to spend the majority of your time around the city, sightseeing, visiting museums, going to visit certain historical places or tourist attractions. And then you'll go back to your hotel possibly to eat and definitely to sleep. But then they have other places that are resorts, which means you go to the resort and that is where you stay. So any form of entertainment, any service you could possibly need, you will find in the resort. What are some services that you could find in a resort when you go on holiday? Andrea mentioned a few: a spa, a gym, a roof lounge to sunbathe, a pool. This way you have certain attractions at the resort and you don't need to leave. The same is true also if you go on vacation or holiday at the sea. If you intend to spend most of your time on the beach, relaxing on the beach, or possibly around the beach town, it doesn't really matter where you are sleeping. But on the other hand, if your hotel is on the beach, which many are in some places, then your vacation is contained in that area. So you don't need to go to a nearby city or a nearby town. Your vacation is the resort. Thank you, Andrea. Andrea says, I stay in the hotel only to sleep and to have breakfast. That's the way I travel also. I like to do everything else outside of the hotel because I don't go on vacation to stay in a hotel. I go on vacation to stay somewhere else. And that could be a city, that could be a town, that could be a village somewhere. But I go on vacation for the experience of being away. And being in one hotel sometimes is very similar to being in another hotel. So even though I do like to go on vacation and relax, I like to relax outside of the hotel. So Andrea and I, we have that in common. We stay in the hotel to sleep and just for breakfast. So if the hotel is not the primary reason or a focus for your vacation or holiday, what are the most important things you look for in a hotel when you go on holiday? What is your biggest concern when you go on holiday? Even though we said that a hotel can offer several services, from accommodations for your pets, internet, a spa, a gym, a restaurant, possibly a disco, laundry service. Very good, very good. Sometimes the most important thing for me, the hotel, is cleanliness. And you'll get a good idea of whether or not your hotel is clean when you go into the bathroom. That's a very good indication of if the bathroom is kept in a certain way, you have an idea of how the rest of the room is kept. Another thing we can also consider, Andrea, when we go on vacation or holiday is whether the room is a smoking or non-smoking room. Do they still have that in hotels, or is it all non-smoking? I know when I traveled, they had smoking rooms and non-smoking rooms, and they also had smoking floors and non-smoking floors. Because maybe you didn't smoke, but the person staying in the room next to you smoked a lot, so you would smell it anyway. So then they decided to divide up the smokers and the non-smokers into one floor or another. So we see that when you book a room in a hotel, there are a lot of things to consider. You can't just stay anywhere you want without asking certain questions. And we went over some of the questions that we can ask in this afternoon's focus. In fact, Andrea helped us a lot with certain things we can consider when we are booking a room. In fact, when you also book a room in a hotel, when you go on vacation or holiday, you can also ask if events are organized through the hotel. What does that mean? That means you're staying in a city or you're staying in a place. And is it possible to have access to certain events through the hotel? For example, you go on vacation or holiday and you don't have your car with you, but you want to visit a nearby city or town. Are there buses that run from the hotel to the nearby city? Are there possibly tour buses that bring you in to your city, your destination city, to enjoy the city sights? So sometimes there are certain services organized through the hotel that allow you to enjoy your vacation to its fullest. I don't know how many of you are planning on going on vacation this summer. This summer for me is probably going to be on the quiet side. If I can, maybe I'll escape once or twice to the beach for a quick beach day. I doubt I'll be staying for any long periods of time. And the rest of the time, I'm sure I'll be here catching some sun in the front of my house. I didn't think that I would ever appreciate the fact that I live in a secluded area, but I have to admit, during this period, I appreciate it a lot more because that means if I don't have the opportunity to go on vacation, I can relax right here at home. So I know that today is also the beginning of a holiday weekend. Yes, it is. Today is the beginning of a holiday weekend. So some of us might be enjoying a 4-day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We've arrived again at the end of another week. I want to thank everyone for joining me this afternoon. This has been smoking is forbidden almost everywhere. Really? So Andrea, if I go on holiday, then you cannot smoke in any hotels at all. I had no idea. I haven't traveled in a long time because when I traveled, they still had smoking cars on the trains. They had smoking on the planes. That tells you how long it's been since I've been on a plane. And a train too. I remember taking a train from Spain to Italy, and the last seat on the train, because I had to book my seat, was in the smoking car. And I spent like 12 hours in the smoking car. It was horrible. It was a nightmare. I mean, it's one thing if you smoke 1 or 2 cigarettes, but if you spend the entire trip, everybody was smoking. It was unbelievable. Okay, everybody, we've arrived at the end of another week. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It's been a great way to spend my Friday afternoon. For those of you getting ready for your long weekend, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And remember that English in the City is live every day on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. So tune in next time. Today, we've spent our afternoon in a hotel, but we spend our other activities traveling and getting jobs and meeting new people. So tune in next week. Have a great weekend, and I will see everyone next time. Thank you so much.